As the COVID fight continues, high-risk groups are now getting vaccines, and over time, more vaccine options will become available to a wider range of people. Tonight, we look at what guidance the church provides as Catholics consider getting vaccinated. Correspondent Mark Irons reports. Mark?
Tracy, people at home may be asking themselves if they should get a coronavirus vaccine. Their decision may depend on age, risk factors, or loved ones around them. But Catholics should also consider the ethics behind the vaccines.
A global fight to pierce the pandemic. Some companies receiving approval of their vaccine shots, with others close behind. It's a hopeful development, but also a challenge for Catholics when vaccines raise an ethical red flag.
When you don't have any, 100% good option, then it becomes a real difficult choice.
Some of the vaccines are made using fetal cell lines obtained decades ago through abortions. Dr. Joseph Meaney, the president of the National Catholic Bioethics Center, offers this.
It would be better to take a vaccine that has less to do with these abortion-derived cell lines than one that is completely immersed in them.
A 2005 document from the Pontifical Academy for Life notes Catholics have an obligation to use ethically sourced vaccines when available. According to the pro-life Charlotte Lozier Institute, the vaccines developed by Pfizer and Moderna were not made with tainted cell lines.
What's actually injected into your arm when you receive a Moderna or a Pfizer vaccine will not contain any cell parts from aborted fetal cell lines. That's huge, right? That's really good news.
However, after vaccine production, abortion-derived cell lines were used in final testing of these two vaccines. Providing further guidance, the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops states, in view of the gravity of the current pandemic and the lack of availability of alternative vaccines, the reasons to accept the new COVID-19 vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna are sufficiently serious to justify their use, despite their remote connection to morally compromised cell lines. The statement, signed by Archbishop Joseph Naumann, the USCCB chairman of pro-life activities. He says safe vaccination should be considered an act of charity to others and part of our moral responsibility for the common good.
We really have to think about not only protecting our own health, but the health of others.
But Archbishop Joseph Naumann also says Catholics have an obligation to protest the companies using unethical means in vaccine production or testing.
I think it's a moment for us, again, to advocate for the sanctity of life of the human being and to never let abortion become acceptable.
The vaccine developed by AstraZeneca was produced using aborted fetal cell lines. U.S. bishops finding it more morally compromised, saying it should be avoided if there are alternatives available. Dr. Tim Millea with the Catholic Medical Association says use your voice to bring about change if you have to take a morally compromised vaccine.
Do it because it's the best thing to do for you and everybody around you. But going forward, we got to keep pushing. We've got to get away from the use of these cells.
Keep in mind, some common vaccines we already have in use rely on these compromised cell lines. For example, the rubella vaccine fights a virus which can be harmful to pregnant women and their developing babies. But currently, there is no approved ethical alternative to the rubella vaccine here in the U.S. It can be taken, but again, the Church says we should always advocate for more ethical options. Tracy.
Okay, thank you so much for that report, Mark. Correspondent Mark Irons reporting for us tonight.